Hey guys, Mike here. So what a red day in the market, even though we had CPI come in and month over month and all that good stuff was as is. The year over year did come in higher than expected, but the market seemed to digest that just fine. The sell-off really started taking place after lunch. But if you notice what's happening, it's just simple. I mean, you can keep it simple or keep it difficult, don't matter to me, but simply is, like I said, massive move up, and what's selling off? All the risk stuff, right? Crypto's selling off, all your high beta stuff selling off, right? Tesla's still coming down. So no coincidence. We'll get the two charts, which we had talked about 4 days ago, which kind of signaled maybe it's going to happen. And so that's all you can do is watch the levels, right? On SPY, we're going to get into this, what we talk about. Don't want to lose 595. Don't want to lose the presidential anchor VWAP, okay? Because if you do, it opens up down to the downside. What else are you seeing, though? That's why I say you always got to watch for these. Watch what's getting a bid on the red days, or where's money starting to flow again. The dead stuff, right? In phase was dead, it's green. Celsius was dead, it's green. Silver was dead, it got a bounce too. But some of them were coming into bouncing off major moving averages, also support at the same time, and there were a few others as well. And so that's what you want to watch out for to see if those continue to get a bid, if this red continues and all this other stuff we're talking about. But again, when you look at the gains in your portfolio, yeah, when you have 30-40% gains in less than a week, you better expect some pullback, right? And that's actually healthy if you want to continue this move forward, because that's what I was telling members in the morning news brief. Like, most of the year-end targets already been met for the S&P, and then, like I said, the monthly expected moves were surpassed in 10 days. That's got pullback written all over it. All right, now the question is, how far they want to pull us back. Are they going to try to wait to NVIDIA earnings? We'll get into all that stuff. And speaking of semiconductors, it never fails. I showed you SMH chart yesterday, and it never fails. They always put news out to try to save it, because the semiconductor sector is very important if they want to keep this market moving up, right? And you can see, actually, it's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Look at this right here. So I'm going to make this real quick here for you guys, because I got to get my son to wrestling. But SMH, you can see right here, green. What happened? Well, this always comes when you need the news, right? So there he is, SML Holdings, the Dutch maker of advanced chip-making machines that are critical to global supply chains, reaffirmed its long-term revenue outlook. Didn't have to do it, but, had to do it today, right? Just perfect timing. As it bets on artificial intelligence, it goes on to tell you how much they think they're going to make. And the company forecasts gross margins of between approximately 56 and 60% in 2030. Way out, right? They came out with this news today, just way out. And of course, what makes up SMH, NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductors, and all of these were green this morning when we opened up, right? They were a lot greener than they are right now as the market started to sell off in the afternoon, because the market actually did go green this morning. And so you can see what's going on. NVIDIA consolidating right there below all-time highs, right before earnings. ARM was green. MU was actually green, ended up going red. Taiwan Semiconductor, you can see, was much more green, selling off at the market at the end of the day, trying to hold that trend line right there and get back to 194 if it can. AMD, watch out for this one, because it's still coming down into this trend line, but you better hope somewhere around here holds, because boy, if that don't hold, man, it's going to be a hot mess for AMD. And I did love this meme just to have a good chuckle. And it was like, NVIDIA year to date, 207%, AMD minus 0.25%. So that was interesting. That's Doge, for those who don't know who that is. But, then we go into Tesla, right? Still under pressure. We talked about this one right here, 316.27. Very iffy of support. They tried to hold it in the AM right here, and it ended up breaking down below it. So that does open up between 299, 300 right there. Again, it's still in the weekly expected move, so nothing major going on here. And if we get to that level, I can almost guarantee you people are going to be selling puts like crazy, trying to get assigned or just get the premium left there. And this is what we're talking about with that level right there. So it has previous resistance / support into it. And so just watch. That means it can't bounce. That means you don't come in and bounce while it's trying to mitigate this, fair value gap or whatever. But we'll see if it's going to remain under pressure, right? And it's going to go with the market. So if the market continues to come down, you should see Tesla come down with it. And speaking of the market, like we talked about with that presidential anchor VWAP, the trend line, the gap below, all that fun stuff. You can see it's starting on the daily to break down below that anchor VWAP, that trend line. So all that's under pressure. There's that gap right below, as you can see right there. So if all that continues, we get that selling pressure again tomorrow, then yes, 591.34, definitely going to be in the cards. Still within the weekly expected move. Obviously, that'll put us near the bottom of it. And so we'll see again, take it level by level. What you're trying to figure out is, where is the low going to be put in at, right? So we have the high. Now you want to look and see, okay, where's the low going to be? And then, of course, when we come back up and we do get a bounce, and we always do get a bounce, is it going to be a lower high or a higher high? Now, of course, if this breaks, then all of a sudden you're talking about 585.92. Then you got that gap from the presidential election, which is huge, okay? And so that's what we're basically looking at when we're looking at SPY, QQQ, and all the rest of them. And for those who need a visual, what I'm talking about here, you can see obviously selling over here. But where is the low going to come? Is it going to come right in here, and then we pop back up and put a lower high, or do we start putting in a higher high again? Move back up to that trend line right there. That's what we got to find out. And a lot of this, you're sitting there thinking, you know, the 20th is a big deal, right? Because if the market likes NVIDIA earnings, we're going to an all-time new high. If it doesn't, it's a sell the news thing, then obviously you got those gaps below, they're going to fill. Okay, that's the big thing. And then we go to IWM and talk about presidential election gaps. Well, there you go right there. So it's starting to enter the presidential election gap right outside this weekly expected move. You got that trend line and horizontal support. And when I say support, I mean the thinnest support you have ever seen in your life, which I'll show you in a minute. But you see that trend line, which was support, then resistance, is going to have to hold a support. And when I say thin support, this is what I've been talking about. Going way back over there. There ain't much there. Okay, so no surprise if it breaks that. But if it breaks that trend line, that obviously, yeah, we're definitely heading down to fill this gap, at least 50% of it for sure. There's no doubt about that. And again, when I pull up a fib, as far as retracement is concerned, you can kind of see from where this started right there. You know, that'll put it, 50 fibs right there, golden pocket, but halfway through that gap, and then 0.79 fills the whole gap. Now, moving on, we talked about this one, and this makes sense, right? Trend lines matter, right? We talked about the equal weighted ETF. We said, okay, if we hit this, about what, 3 or 4 days we talked about this, are we going to sell off and go sideways? Because both of them are lining up with the same formation, right? And that's exactly what happened. Okay, so we shouldn't be too surprised with the major move up coming into resistance on both equal weighted ETFs to see this many stocks coming down and everything. And it's normal. There's nothing bad about it. I keep trying to tell people it's nothing bad about it. You're still in a bull market. That's just the way it is. And this gives you a chance instead of buying at nosebleed prices if you're trying to buy into this, especially for undervalued stuff, then you get a better shot. And the question is, are we coming down this trend line? Or are we going to start filling that gap? That's really what we're looking out for. And all you got to do is just wait and see. Are you going to front run? Nothing. Now, what you're looking at here is two different markets. Okay. This is where you got to figure out what the market's going to choose. We're going to bring up Amazon. We're going to bring up Microsoft. We're going to bring up Apple. And we're going to bring up NVIDIA. They're either going to choose Microsoft and Apple or NVIDIA and Amazon. What is the big difference? You can see, obviously, NVIDIA and Amazon, especially Amazon, going good. All of a sudden, you've seen Apple start roaring, right? Microsoft starting to get a lot more love now. And we talked about this. The big reason is NVIDIA just stalled because of earnings. There's no doubt about that one. They may still try to run it up. We'll see. But when you look at this, two of these stocks aren't at all-time highs. And then one is definitely all-time highs, and one is sitting right there at all-time highs. And one's actually setting new all-time highs like the last 3 or 4 days in a row. And so when we get rid of this, you see what I'm talking about. But here's Microsoft. We go to the daily. You can see, look at that. Still got room to run, right? If they want to push this up. And it's a safe haven, right? Billions and billions in cash, still growth and all that good stuff. Here's Apple, same thing. It breaks that trend line. It's going back up to 236. And there's Amazon, all-time new highs. NVIDIA reports on the 20th. Obviously just keeps bouncing off what was previous all-time high. So let's see which one they're going to choose. Put in the comments what you think is going to happen there. Now, when it comes to earnings, only thing to look at is Alibaba, which is a total mess, like I was telling members or whatever. Hadn't given back all the games from the STEMI gaps, but very close to it. And when it comes to data, we'll have more data. Core retail sales month over month, retail sales month over month, Empire State Manufacturing. And so we'll see how the market digests that. And so please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. Please put your questions for Saturday's video in the comments. I'll try to get to them. Think about signing up for the membership, less than McDonald's combo. That's everything you get with it. And I'll end up seeing you guys on Saturday for the video, and then Sunday to set up next week will be another busy one, by the way. So have a good one, guys.